I'm glad they've taken the opportunity to try to do this. They're off to start now. There we go. You can see a lot of them have taken the technique of holding down the feet of the person in front of them. So they'll do that, and then they'll release them as they roll off the erg, and the next person comes on. There doesn't seem to be anyone standing on the end. Sometimes you have someone standing, but it seems that they've brought the weights back for each of the indoor rowers. But it looks like we're getting out to a good start here with a very close field as we go into about 200 meters into this race.
Yes, and 500 meters each. That's the distance they have to tick down the clock, and they can give it their all. It's a 500-meter sprint, broken up for each of them into different portions. And you just saw there one of the changeovers going on in the arena. What I found amazing about this is that we have the virtual competitors doing exactly the same thing as well. It's so difficult to coordinate. But Team Finland here out at the front of the field, looking to do Joel Nakarinen proud from the Versa Challenge. Finland always come here in full force, but you'll see as the boats jump during the changeovers, so it's going to be really difficult for us, Natasha, to tell just who is performing well until maybe the final 250 meters.
And in terms of the changeover, I want you to notice the person that's holding the seat for the person that is getting on. That is one of the more important parts. You want to make sure you get directly onto that seat when you start racing. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to fall off and lose some time. So it's really how smooth those connections are that keeps your time down for these different racers. It is difficult with all of the changeover, but I think we have a pretty definitive lead with Team Finland, 16 meters ahead of free speed, which is 15 meters ahead of Swift Strokes, which I believe was my pick for fun name. But these times as well, they just jumped up, but we saw around 1:15, 1:16, depending on who is going for your team. So very, very fast times here through the middle bit of this race.
Yeah, and you bring up an interesting thing there. This is the first of the mixed relays, right? Well, it's the only mixed relay. We've seen the men's, we've seen the women's. In the mixed, you have got a strategic element here, right? Who do you put on to start with? Do you change the genders? You know, man, woman. Do you go for all the men, then all the women, then all the men? How you cycle through those athletes can be really deceptive, I guess, on the leaderboard as to who's ahead and who's not, because you may or may not have used your strongest athletes already on the run into the final half of this race.
And in terms of the rotation as well, like you've probably gone through 4 of your team members so far, and then you'll do another maybe 250 each. Maybe you're going shorter than that, but they're going to be cycling through once again. Typically, you want to time it as well, so you have your fastest on to do the finish. You know how many meters you are ahead or behind, but you can see a lot of athletes are not only glancing at their screen at the leaderboard, but also glancing at one another and seeing how well different teams' transitions are going, what everyone else is doing. There's a lot of movement going on, a lot of moving parts happening right now in the O2 Universum.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts, a lot of noise. This is one of the noisiest events, I think, of the entirety of the championships. People screaming not only at their teammates, but the crowd as well. It's certainly lots of decibels there in the O2 Universum Arena in Prague, and I'm sure looking at the bottom pictures from the Saudi Arabian rowing team, screaming going on there in the bottom right hand corner between teammates, and also the new rowing team as well in this relay. Now, final 500 meters. Where are the changeovers going to come here? Is it just one more person left to row? Here's Team Swift Strokes, your favourite picks, Natasha. They're currently 5th on the leaderboard. How much ground have they got to make up? I don't know.
It's a really, really tough call. I would say if I were doing strategy here, I'd try to do 2 more changes. You want one at 400 meters, and you want one with about 200 meters to go, making sure you're not passing, having one person on for over a minute here. But look at the extreme effort from those teams. They know they're so close to the end, and your teammates are just cheering you on. Here's Team Finland doing what might be their final final switchover. They had about 230 meters left in the race. They are still leading with a solid 129, 130 here. Free speed in second, both ahead of Dream Team. I don't know if we've seen Šantrůčková go on the Dream Team yet, but Swift Stroke seems to be catching up a little bit. So it's going to be an intense last 100 meters of the race as they give it their all for the last 10 strokes. Camilla, take us through this ending.
Yeah, I think I've just seen the highest stroke rate I've ever seen, 90 coming from one of those crews lower down the board, 60 from Team Finland most of the way through this challenge, and they're going to hit the line absolutely victorious. Joonas, Kuivalainen, Arttu, Härkönen, Iida, Niemi, and Emma Salonen, the victorious team in a time of 5:26.7. The Finnish team always come here in force. It's then Team Free Speed that will clinch silver medal ahead of Dream Team 2024. Šantrůčková, we called out, back again along with Václav Zitta.